the Blackout podcast.
Hello, Epidemic.
How's it going?
Good. Thanks for coming in. I really appreciate you moving things around to make this happen.
Oh, I feel like made you guys move around stuff more than I did. So, but it's Saturday. It's good. It's a good day to be alive. So.
Yeah, it's always a good day to be alive. Thanks for coming. Well, let's start with a brief introduction. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Mark, aka Epidemic, artist, born and raised Windsor Junction, Nova Scotia. I've been doing music for about 12 to 13 years, essentially, as a whole, but just been working and making music as much as I want, really. I mean, until these things pop off, we'll be good.
So 13 years, how did it start for you?
It was a love for poetry, essentially. Going through elementary school, even through junior high, it was a love for poetry, love for the whole thing you can do with rhymes, being able to make rhymes work to your advantage, portray feelings, portray emotions, and tell a story, was where it basically started. I mean, when I started writing, it was like, it's funny because it was the first song I wrote was about a breakup with a girl in junior high. So it was like grade 8. Well, I never recorded it or anything because it was really mean. But it was just out of spite. It was like, she doesn't like me anymore. She's with this guy already. Granted, I'm still in junior high, so it's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But I blew it out of proportion, and basically that's how the first song was written. And basically, since then, I started stereotypical rhymes, and then moved to more storytelling and the music I like making now. So.
Do you remember the title of the first song?
Oh no, I don't. I wish I did now. There was 3 mixtapes that I released throughout high school that I only did a select run of printing because I actually outsourced it to a CD printing company back when that was relevant, because it's not anymore. But basically, I wish I did. The first project that I did was called Outbreak, because it was a play on words with breakout. I'm breaking out of finally doing this, but we called it Outbreak. And it kind of goes with the epidemic, right?
Yeah. So
it worked in both ways, but it was a collaboration with a friend from another school in the HRM. But yeah, we just did basically, me and him did a 8-track mixtape to start everything off, and that was essentially how everything else went. And then I did a lot of solo material after that for the other 2 mixtapes.
So those 8 songs, was it 2 of you on every track, or?
Yeah, I think at least 6 of them, and I think we both had 1 individual track.
Oh, okay.
But we basically traded back and forth, and it was terrible because we didn't record together, and I didn't have any clue of what was good equipment to use. So I had a computer microphone, and he was using a plug-in hand, like a 58. And I was like, mine sounds like crap compared to this. But okay, we'll make it work. I'm sure we can make it work. And mine just sounded a lot more fuzzy. But I mean, it was cool. I mean, that was my introduction to really working with somebody and understanding that things can sound better if you use better equipment sometimes.
So when it comes to songwriting, I mean, I know you like telling stories, but how does it start for you? Does it start with a beat? Does it start with the title of the song?
Title is the last thing.
Oh, wow.
Literally the last thing sometimes, because I mean the song can be completely written, and I still don't know what it is until we record it basically the day of and go from there. Because I mean, I recorded a song with a local artist recently, and I had no idea what to call the song, and it was just, it came up in the hook, and it was like, that's a song, that's the title. But sorry, what was the question?
No, like, what's the process when it comes to songwriting?
It does normally stem from a beat, but it can just be like something happened in the day that either upset me or made me really happy or whatever the emotion was, and just sparked my interest to just write about it or write about the feeling that it had. But I like writing to a beat because a beat can inspire me in a way that sometimes life gets way too complicated to try and stem from that sometimes. But I mean, the beat can trigger something that has happened, and that makes it easier to at least convey it in a song.
So do you work with a particular producer or a bunch of them?
I used to try and stay. Well, I used to just use free beats or like remix beats and call them my own. But then again, I was only selling like hand to hand, so I really wasn't doing much. But as far as producers go, it's a lot of online producers that I try and make connections with. I usually buy them off like SoundClick or something like that because it's a beat website. But all the same, recently I try to connect with the producers that I'm working with because I'd rather build a relationship with them and actually understand and be able to tell them, like, this is what I want to do with it. What can we do to make this sound like this? Or whatever the case is, and or even just to get the stems really for the file, to get every piece, every drum, every horn, every sound, so I can better control and give it better final product. So local, I try and stay local, but I mean, I'm just very particular when it comes to my beats. And it's funny because I try and stay different at the same time, because I pick beats that are a lot more left field than anything. They just attract me more because it gives me more of a challenge and really allows me to show my versatility and everything when it comes to songwriting and just the performance when we're recording. So
when you started out, what kind of music, what kind of artists did you listen to
when I started?
So
Eminem.
10 years ago, yeah.
Eminem. He was The Way I Am was the first introduction to him. So that was very angry music. So I didn't know anything to write about but like negative stuff. So I wasn't really writing about anything positive in my life, which there was a lot of positivity in my life. It's just like the rap music that was going on back then. It wasn't like, it was either super party anthem or it was like, this stuff's going on in my life. And that's like, once again, I forgot what the question was.
No, like, I mean, the artist, you listen to Eminem then?
Oh, yeah, artist. Got it. Sorry. Eminem, trying to think back then. G-Unit, 50 Cent. It was, I even want to say like Bone Thugs and Harmony. It was Busta Rhymes. Now,
yeah,
I find myself listening to like J. Cole, Russ, and I try and get like influencers in a sense, like people that are socially conscious with politics and everything like that. So Vic Mensa is a big one for me too, because he's very proactive with fighting the violence and stuff in the States and stuff with the police officers and everything like that. So yeah, he's very political, but at the same time, Russ is where I get my melodies from, because I mean, and his hustle's insane because he does literally everything when it comes to like production.
Holy smokes.
He writes, produces, masters, everything like that. Other than his videos, he gets someone else to shoot his videos, but but he does everything, and that's how he's built his name and his brand and everything. So he's built his name off that, and I can't do anything but respect him for it. And like, he makes good music. He very melodic when he performs or even just puts stuff out. So that's where I get that. And then J. Cole's just lyrics is where I get my lyrics from.
Yeah. So what are some of Joe Cole songs you like?
Land of the Snakes. I feel like it's
Which
Trouble.
one is Land of the Snakes? Is it the one where it goes,
like the
me and my
second-
bitch, blah, 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 blah. No, that's not that
no,
one.
that's it's I should know it if it's one of my favorites. Used to roll on Lewis Street with.
That's cool.
It's where I ran into this chick I went to college with. Yeah. Back when my brother was on scholarships. But it's very lyrical more than anything because I think it's more of a free verse. But that whole album, Born Sinner, is crazy. Yeah. I'm definitely a fan of it, and it's still a CD that I keep in my car, even though I play my phone. But that one, Sideline Story, is cool too. I mean, that was really my introduction. Like when he came out with, I want to say Who Dat.
Yeah.
Back when.
Yeah.
That music video was fire.
Yeah, it was. I think he had
literally fire in his music video.
There was this one line sample from Outkast. Who wanna fuck with Joe Cole? It was in there. I remember it, and it was from an Outkast song. I can't remember the song now, but yeah. I remember Who Dat for sure.
But that was the one that's what introduced me to it. I mean, I wish I had have known like the warm up. I think it was before that. I'm sorry if I'm terrible on my references, but Sideline Story is the first one that I bought of J. Cole, and that was my intro. And then Born Sinner was the next one I bought because every song on that was crazy, and like he had so many stories to tell on that. Yeah, I mean the music video alone for not Perfect Smile, was it? Is it Perfect Smile? That song?
I can't remember, but is it in the album where he had a song where they were going to bury somebody?
Power Trip?
Yeah,
that's a music video, right?
Yeah.
With Miguel.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that was the first single on that album, I believe, which was also good. I tried to do a cover of that one, or not a cover, like a remix of that one. It never ended up working. I couldn't sing it well at that time, so
like did you get someone to sing? Because he didn't sing it, right?
No, I didn't. I didn't really have that many people that I wanted to sing. I wanted to try it because I wanted to like see if I could branch out and do it. But at that point, I wasn't confident enough in my singing abilities to really tackle it properly. So I gave up on that one. Didn't end up doing anything with it, but still a banger for J. Cole's sake. So no, that Born Sinner is definitely on my top 5 for sure. So
yeah, I love that. And so what do you think of mumble rap?
I believe it was a gateway more than anything. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of it when it happened, as a lot of people were, at least a lot of hip hop heads, it seemed. And it was more of like a cultural change. But a lot of those mumble rappers now are not mumble rappers. Like they don't necessarily mumble anymore. They're actually rapping. Like Kodak Black's last out, he just dropped an album, and I'm pretty sure he's actually rapping. Like I didn't actually listen to it, but the performance that he did on Jimmy Kimmel, I think.
Yeah, I heard someone
was actually good. Yeah,
someone told me that.
And I was never a big fan of Kodak Black. Every time a verse of his came on, like a feature, I'd turn off the song or change the song. But I mean, they're all growing, they're all adapting, and they're all actually becoming an artist. That's more than just a fad. Because even like Trippie Redd, that dude can rap. He can rap, and he can actually somewhat sing to it too. Like he can keep a melody when it came to like his last album. And I don't know, mumble rap was never I was never a big fan of it, but all the same, it was a cultural change. Yeah. I think it allowed people to see what fans wanted to listen to, what this generation wants to listen to. Like it seemed about the hype was more worthy than the actual content.
Ah.
Because, I mean, you'll get Lil Uzi Vert and, like, the footage that he had from shows. Like, he was stage diving from, like, 15 feet up, dropping into crowds. Granted, he's not a big dude, but, like, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And, like, not to say he's a bad artist, but he was part of that mumble rap generation, and the festivals, the shows, the tours, and everything that generated, and the hype behind it was unmatched with certain, like, even artists nowadays that are lyrical. Because I mean, it's just it was a cultural change.
Yeah, I guess, my question about leading from that is that you're really a storyteller, so there's a lot of words.
Yeah.
Storytelling. And then compared to the do you see some people having this issue with, I mean, this person isn't really saying much, right? But they have this massive hype. And I'm telling...
And a massive following, too, which is, yeah.
and I'm telling this amazing story, but, it's like, it's not really catching on. Do you think some people just use that to get the following, to tell the stories they want to tell?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you want to take a completely left field example, look at Taylor Swift. She started in country music. She started as a country artist. She makes some of the best pop music now. Country was her gateway. Like, that opened so many doors for her to do a lot of stuff, and then she moved to pop. I mean, granted, she could have wanted to do pop the whole time, but country was that lane that she could tackle and master, at least enough to transition. But, I mean, those guys, I think a lot of them used it as a business tool. I mean, you really want to analyze it. I'm sure a lot of these guys found that mumble rap was kicking in, so they jumped on the Lil wagon and ran with it. And now that they're still making music, if they're still making music, they're making the stuff that they want to make, whether it's still mumble rap or not. So
okay. And so, I mean, I know you listen to these different artists, but do you see any influences of the songs you listen to now? Say, I know you said when you started out with Eminem, you had that whole thing, but now, right. Do you see that in any way influencing your music?
Like artists or just the music that I'm listening to?
Well, yeah, let's say music you're listening to.
Yeah, I find I'm surrounding myself more nowadays with positivity, just because, like, I don't want to sound like I'm preaching at all, but, like, I've had a different outlook on life, and I don't like focusing on the negativity and the negative stuff, but it's got to be told. So I look for where that's brought me, or like the outcome, because that's a positive. Being able to relate that. And so the music that I'm listening to now is, well, essentially a lot more positive. Like, I was listening to like A Boogie with the Hoodie on the way here, and it was a lot of negative stuff, but I mean, the dude can rap and he can do all that. I was trying to find new music on the way here, or even before I went to the gym this morning. But I mean, I'm trying to surround myself with positive music, because it's bringing out a lot of the best music that I've been making and writing, and it just seems to be something I gravitate towards. I wish I had a better example right now. I listened to a lot of Russ's new album, Zoo, and I also listened to, what else is... Have you ever heard of Danny Lay?
No, not yet.
Anyway, she's, I want to say up and coming, but she's performed with...
Okay, I thought it was a guy.
No, yeah, well, there you go. Female. I feel like she's a rapper, but she could very well be an R&B artist. Just, it's weird with that. It's like the Post Malone kind of thing. Post Malone calls himself a rapper, but I don't really see it as a rapper. I feel like he's more of an R&B artist. But, like, she does both aspects, and... Basically, the album was called The Plan, and it's about, like, sticking to the plan of making music full time, doing this my way, doing this how I want to do it, not how like industry or like label heads or artist managers want me to do it. It's going to be my way because it's been the plan from the get-go.
Okay.
So I feel like I've strayed off the question.
No, you're right.
But
you're right on
positivity seems to be something that I'm gravitating a lot more towards nowadays. Just because I, as much as I hate talking about negative stuff, it happens, but I'd rather focus on uplifting, I guess.
Great. Talking about positivity, there's something that's kind of really coming out now in especially rap, hip hop, mental challenges like with
mental illness,
exactly.
It's awareness. Well, you want to talk about that? It Logic hit perfect with that when he dropped that. I mean, not that I'm gonna hop on that train of Logic, but he definitely opened up the industry when he first of all titled the track the hotline number. I mean, that was big. But go ahead. I feel like I jumped in already with your question.
That is what I'm like. I just want to hear your opinion on that. Like, is it something?
I believe it's something people need to talk about. Like,
Yeah.
I don't talk about it enough with myself because I keep everything to myself. I don't like talking about the real shit that's going on inside. Like, it's not something I like to talk about because it feels too personal sometimes. Like, I want people to know that like I'm literally living on like $15 right now until Wednesday. That's real shit that's going on in my life that I don't like talking about, but I mean, I'm making it work. We all have our struggles. We all have our mental health, and like that's stress, that's anxiety on my brain, and I'm just trying to make the outer shell look calm. Like I don't like doing it, but all the same, like I don't like coming off as struggling as I am, because I believe nobody should struggle to the point where their mental health is becoming an issue or taking a major hit. Excuse me, but I just feel like mental health is something that's becoming more of a forefront issue, and people are coming out a lot more. Granted, there's a lot of people like Chester Bennington. Nobody would have ever known he had that problem.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true. I can't say that because if you were talking to him, I'm sure you wouldn't have noticed. But like, check out all the songs they put out. That's got to be his songwriting, because I mean, they put out the single "Heavy" featuring Kiara, and on that last album that they did, and like you got to think about, like, people think they're just catchy songs. That's his life. Like, he's telling you like when the world gets too heavy. Like, he's talking about shit that's going on in his life that you would never really think that he's like, you think he was just writing it to make good music or like just to have it relatable to people. But like, he was going through some stuff.
Yeah.
And then you have Mac Miller.
Yeah, I know.
More related to my genre, but all the same, he was self-medicating because he wanted to do it for the people. He was making music for people. He wasn't doing it essentially for himself. At first, I'm sure he was, but at one point it seems like it turned and he got to a pleasing kind of thing. Like, he wanted to do it, make music for them, but it wasn't really taking a good note on his brain. But it's very scary how quick it can turn if we don't talk about it.
Yeah. So like, what I guess would be your ideal way forward, especially when it comes to mental health?
Ideal way forward? What do you mean?
Yeah, like should I mean, do you think we have enough support, especially looking from an artist standpoint?
Right.
Yeah.
Probably not. I don't think we have enough. I mean, we have a platform to talk about it. As artists, you can put it in every song you want, but people don't necessarily want to listen to that, especially when it comes to music. So it comes to different forms of media or different forms of publicity, or even bigger names, not even necessarily artists, talking about it, because we as artists put ourselves on display, but all the same, like I said, we hide a lot of it.
Yeah.
And I think it needs to be maybe not necessarily talked about more, but just having more of an open forum for just anybody who wants to talk about it, that wants just somebody to talk to. Like, I know there's hotlines and all that stuff, but I can tell you myself, I would never call one of those hotlines. I don't think I don't think I could ever do it. Like, I don't think I could ever, like, at my lowest, I don't know if I could subject myself to think that I need to call a hotline, that it's that bad. But that's me. I don't think, I think I would tell, I'm really close with my mom, so I would tell my mom before I would tell anybody. And I don't, like, there's some stuff that I don't even think I'd tell her, just because it's I don't want to come off as weak as I could be. I'm not saying I'm weak right now, or there's not going to be a time when I'm weak, but it's not even an image. It's just I don't want to have myself thinking that I'm that bad. And that's very well could be relatable to everybody else, or to the people that have passed away because of it. Rest in peace to them. But, like, I don't think I don't know. Like, I don't show it enough for people to know about it. I don't talk about it enough to make people concerned about it. Granted, I'm not in any way preaching that I'm at a low or lower than the people that are struggling out there. But, like, I feel like it needs to be talked about more, or at least, like, a more open forum about it. Just a way of being more open about it without having to broadcast it everywhere. Like, having somebody, like a friend, that's just, like, able to listen. Because, I mean, you don't necessarily have to have a conversation about it. It just needs to be vented sometimes, because it could be the thing that breaks you down and makes you realize it's not that bad, or there's people out there, or whatever the remedy could be. I mean, clearly I didn't think I had to talk about too much about mental health, but I guess it's a bigger issue than I thought.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's safe to presume it's not something you write about in your songs. I mean, now you're focused on...
It isn't. I mean, you heard Broke. You were telling me about that.
Yeah.
That was my scratching the surface of what it was.
Yeah, I guess.
It was more of an open subject, but it was coming from a personal standpoint, like from my perspective. It was a song that I felt had a lot of potential, but at the same time was a thing that I was dealing with. Like, I was trying to make music, but to get recording time, or to get it mixed, or shoot music videos, it takes money. And if you don't have money, what are you gonna do? Like, you can't move up in the industry, or you can't. And if, like, granted, I have a great support system, but if you don't have a support system, or somebody to at least cheer you on, like, that could cripple you in hopes of trying to make something happen.
Yeah.
So
without Broke song, did it start with the beat, or you already had an idea you're gonna make that song before you had the beat?
I think I heard the beat first. To be honest, the beat was the kicker. It just had more of a storytelling vibe. It wasn't like an in-depth melody, but it also had a hook to it that could be almost chant-worthy, but that wasn't my focus. It was creating a message that, like, the industry's not necessarily built for everybody to succeed. It's not made for everybody to make money. It's not made for everybody to necessarily be comfortable with your living situations. And it was just weird to finally bring it to light. But I mean, at the same time, I brought it to light, and it wasn't even a single on the project. It was just something that I did because I didn't feel the need to put it at the forefront.
I don't know why. When I listen to it, like, I love the whole entire album. The album is great. All the songs kind of flow into each other. But Broke was the song that I had to play again. I don't know. It just caught me. I was like, what the, there was a thing about it. It wasn't like you said. It wasn't just the beat.
Yeah, and just the way. Sorry, no, it's all good. I just wanted to make sure we're good. With the way it worked, like, I don't know how I came into it, or if I wrote the hook or the verse. I'm pretty sure I did the verses. I'm normally terrible for writing hooks unless it's catching, like, my interest big time. But the song starts pretty personal.
Okay,
we're living in a generation, like, of where the minimum wage, you can't make minimum payments kind of deal. Like, it's...
I remember when we saw the next time after I listened to Broke, I was like, what was the story behind Broke?
And yeah, like we said, it was something that, just an issue that I was dealing with, but I didn't want to really put it out there that I was dealing with it, but something that concerned me. It was like, at a point when I was working minimum wage jobs, I was working 1, 2, or 3 minimum wage jobs just to pay the bills. Like, it wasn't something easy to deal with, but I mean, you had to do what you had to do to make ends meet. And the song was just a way for me to say that in a way, like, that could be relatable to a lot of people, because I know there's a lot of people out there that work multiple jobs just to pay the bills, make ends meet. And like I said, with the first verse, like, the intro, it's like an intro to the song. Before even the beat kicks in, we're living in a generation where we can't even make minimum payments. Like, we're working minimum wage jobs, but we can't even make minimum payments on, like, a car or rent or electricity, whatever the case is.
Yeah,
like, that's the generation we live in, and that's the kind of tone I wanted to set with it. Like, grab your attention right away, be like,
he did.
This is an issue, but I mean, we all go through it. It shouldn't be an issue. There should be a way around it, or something we can do to increase this or to make it better. But that's essentially how it began, and just allowed me to say that, like, I'm out here. I know what you're going through. I know what's going on. Like, I can see that you're struggling. I'm here too. Like, but I'm out here hustling because I know I need a car to get me to work. I need a place to sleep at night. I need to make that money to make sure, like, even for this music, because I mean, nobody's gonna foot any money for me unless it's like a grant, and even then I gotta pay it back. So it's creating opportunities like that, creating songs like that are allowing me to at least build awareness, create awareness, or something to that nature. So it was a platform. It was a cool platform to use, and I just never saw it as a single, and I wish I had of. And there's still potential to do so. I mean, like, you want to look at potential. Fetty Wap was pushing Trap Queen for like 2 years before it even popped off. Pushed that for years, and finally it caught on. But I mean, I could easily do that. Well, not easily. Let's not go there. But I could do that. Like, and I'd rather tackle it and do it. I don't know if I'd record it again necessarily, but I'd definitely consider pushing it. It's just the music I'm making now isn't exactly there, so it's a change. Maybe I come back to it. Okay, but
so I mean, you don't see yourself kind of like, now talking about the music you're making now. Blessed is also dope, and I remember seeing. Because I checked the streams, and it's like it doubled in a day.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was nice to see. I mean, like, granted, I gotta give respect to the other guys that are on the song, Shay and my best friend Jacob. But I mean, it's just nice to see numbers like that. I mean, granted, it's only the beginning. I'm still considering myself, like, I'm still coming up. But it's just nice to see those numbers turn around so quickly. Yeah. Because it shows that somebody's listening, or somebody's pushing it, or somebody's sharing it, or something to that nature. At least it's going somewhere. And whether where it is right now is as far as it goes, that's fine with me. I mean, it's allowed me to be on playlists that I never thought I'd be on at this point in my career anyways. But it's just nice. It's a nice turnaround for it.
And so actually let's go back to Blessed. The story behind Blessed is the haunted house.
Yeah. It's the artwork.
Yeah, the artwork. Let's go with that one.
So, well, that's essentially where it all... I don't want to say where it all began, but it's definitely part of the story behind it.
Yeah.
Music Nova Scotia. So Nova Scotia Music Week was happening. I performed the Friday, but I wanted to come back the Saturday to Truro to take in the panels and see the performances at night. But Shay, who I had met at New School Rules, wanted to work on music. So I was like, well, hey, I'm not even going to tell him. I'm going to bring my music stuff. I'm going to bring like my mic and everything, bring that to Truro, and we'll record. And we'll do something. I didn't know what we were going to record or if we were going to even record anything. But he was more game to do it than I was at that point. Like, he was itching to go, like, when can we record? So I brought the stuff up to his room. I set it up, and then we started going through beats. And a couple caught our ears, but that one I think I ran through a lot of Jacob's beats. And that one seemed to, although it's a repetitive sample, it seemed to catch both of our ears pretty quick. And he started writing to it. And basically after that, we just, like, throughout the night, we had to go in, like, 15-minute increments of, like, recording, or, like, 15 to 20-minute increments of recording, because it was just, the stage was right below his hotel room. So we were recording in his hotel room, but like we had to take breaks because the bass would rattle the furnace, or like the fan on the side, and you just hear like everything that was going on downstairs. So we had to go through the night and basically record when we could. So granted, it didn't take that long to actually record, but we had to do at least like span it out over like an hour or two. So but that was pretty cool. So we got it recorded. We left it alone because we were going to mix it later on. Basically, as long as we have the stems of the vocal files, we were going to be all right. But then, like, we went to a few shows, and then just before I was about to leave, they were talking about this haunted mansion / it used to be like an inn, like a hotel kind of old school townhouse. And they were talking about people were walking through it and stuff, and like they were saying it's haunted, but nobody's really seen anything, or nobody's really talked about it. So I was like, dude, I got to do this before I leave. I mean, so myself, Shay, and Thomas from Han Solo Records in Toronto, we all went in. We went on the base level because the door was open. And basically walked around there, saw everything was basically like tossed around, everything. It was just like somebody ransacked the entire place. But at one point there's like a splatter on the wall. It's either looks like shit or it looks like blood. But it's a splatter all over the wall. And it's just a little eerie. But at the same time, there's like a new age cigarette butt post thing to put your cigarettes out on. And I was like, that's super weird for that to be in here. Clearly more people are coming in here than we thought. So then we were like, this is cool, okay, I'm about to head out. And I was like, we're not gonna go upstairs? Shay goes, oh, you want to go upstairs? So we started to walk upstairs up it's like a U. So we go up the first set, turn around to go up the second set. We went up the first set, all we hear is like fairly loud. And then I started to walk around the next thing. I look down the hallway, and all I hear is all you hear. And the funny thing is, Thomas had it on video. I didn't know he was recording, but he just had his little handheld camera, and he did it, and he recorded it, and you can faintly hear, you can hear the tapping, but you can't hear you can faintly hear the scream. And it was like, all you hear after that is Shay go, nope. And literally, we all took off running out of that place. I don't think we could have gone any faster. But, so in the spirit of the spontaneity of the night of recording as it was, we took that to, I guess, incorporate that house into the story. Hence why it's blessed.
So, I mean, the photo was great. The building was turned upside down. What's the color purple?
I think it's Shay's, one of Shay's favorite colors. Like in the verse alone, he goes, posted on the gram, hearts purple and blue. So, I mean, there's a scheme of purple, bluish colors, and I think that's just his favorite colors and stuff. So that pretty much played into the artwork. So I had no problem with whatever the artwork was going to be. So it's just funny that he chose that house, which suited it perfectly.
Yeah, so. Yeah. And me on him.
Yep.
So what's the story behind me on him?
Okay. So I had that song written about like 4 or 5 months before as a solo song. So I had 3 verses written to that song with the hook, and I was really stoked about it. Like I really liked the way it went. Like it was definitely down a lot more pop influenced lane, but all the same, it was just nice to actually take a change and like flip the rap into like a more commercial, I guess, song. So I sat on it for like 4 or 5 months and realized, like, what if, like, the song's called Me or Him, and it's about a girl deciding if she wants to stay with this guy who's not really pushing her to do anything with her life, who's just sitting there. Maybe he's playing video games all day, not really taking anything to better his life. Yeah. So he's not pushing her, like, and it's like a, hey, if you come with me, it's very, very much in the sense of like, I can show you better kind of deal. But like, if you come with me, I can show you like there's more to life than just sitting down watching TV or watching video games all day. And in saying that, I'm talking to a girl, so why don't we get like the female perspective? So I was reaching out, trying to look for a female to do it, and Shay Pitts came to mind. And I asked her to do it. She said, yeah, totally down to do it. Sounds right down my alley. And I thought she was, like, I thought she was more of a rapper when I first met her, because that's what I only saw her at like ciphers and stuff like that. So I took her as a rapper, but when she came in to record her verse for that song, she sang it, and I was like, that fits so much better than I thought it would. And it flowed perfectly. It was like her opinion of it, and I was like, cool. So now I have a female on it. Now it'll be just like a back and forth. Like, I'll do the first verse, the hook, she'll do her verse, and then I come back for the third verse. And I was like, that's cool. But if my third verse doesn't really play to her verse, then it's not going to sound right. Yeah. So I was like, what if I get a third person and get a third perspective kind of deal? So then I was trying to find an artist that would not just do it justice, but fit the song. And KO came to mind. And I met him years ago. And basically, I've been listening. I had listened to his recent project, and it seemed like he would fit exactly what I needed. And he has a Caribbean vibe to his voice. I mean, it's hard to mistake. So having that voice on that track would fit perfectly. So I was like, hey, would you mind doing a verse on this? And he was like, yeah, sure. Sounds like I really dig the song. So he did that. I heard it back, and I was like, I'm so glad I didn't release this song with three of my verses. Instead, I put my verse first and just went from there. But I mean, that's essentially how it went. Like it went from being a solo song to being on Pump It or Dump It for 101.3, and was on Global, was on CTV as well. So it got the publicity that I wanted at the time. I wish I could have done more with it, but all the same, I still love the track. I mean, I love the song's got a positive vibe, if you want to come back to our earlier talks, but
yeah, it does. I
the
love
positive
it. I love
vibe was there, and it's hard to.
I can't get over the cover album, the album art
For Me or Him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I needed something different. I just was like, I had seen Mitchell, I think his name is Mitchell Turner. He did the artwork, and he was offering to do like similar, like realistic but cartoon like drawings of people. And I was like, what if you got like me? And he showed me, and I was like, what if you did the artwork for this song? And I got like their like front photos to get them on it, and it's like, yeah, just send them as long as I can get like a decent frontal view of their face. We should be all right. And I just asked them to send me the picture that you would want your face like recreated as a cartoon, and they're like, fine, sent it. And I sent them to him. He sent it back, and I was like, silly. But it looked so, it fit perfectly, and it didn't need to be anything extra, and it fit perfectly.
Yeah, I think it fit the vibe of the song. So I mean, you've had like 13 years, started out grade 9, doing different music, and now you're like in a positive level. Bless is doing great, but I guess, what advice, would you give someone that not necessarily struggling, but how to keep pushing when it seems, you have to go to your day job to make money, to go to the studio, or to follow your art?
Just know that like why you're doing it. Understand why you're doing it. Because I didn't know how much I loved it until I started performing. Once I like that stage feels like home to me. The performing aspect of what I do is my favorite. Like, I love creating great music, awesome music, fun music, but if I can't perform it, then it's nothing to me, because like I put my character on the stage. Everything that I am and everything that I want to be comes out on that stage. Like, you find me at like shows, you'll see me dancing during my set, not necessarily dancing, but like if the vibe is right, you'll find me at least doing like side steps or like two-stepping or something to my own songs as I'm performing. So just understanding what you're doing, like why you're doing it at the end of the day. If you truly love music, if that's what you're going for, or acting, or whatever the case is, understand that there's a level of dedication. Like, I understand there's a level of dedication that not even I'm hitting to make it like Eminem or J. Cole or Russ or anything like that. So I really need to step my game up to even come close, like far away from them. But there's just a level of dedication that you have to understand that involves getting there, or at least getting recognition. Like, putting your 2 cents in is one thing, but understanding that it's a process. And if you want to quote somebody great, look at Gary Vee. Love the process. Fall in love with the process. Because if you don't find out what you're doing, or the type of music that you truly love making, or if you're just making it to make it, it's different. Because that's what I was doing. I was just making music to make music, and I got tired of it, and like I found myself not writing as much anymore, and I was like, it's not fun. And then I started making the melodic stuff that I'm making now, and just the stuff over the past year or two, just past 2 years, alone, have been something that I've just found I'm dedicated a lot more to. So,
okay. So I'm gonna round this up by hitting a little bit on Rap Charlie Brown. What's that about?
I've always found myself, I love being a character. I love the fact of being relatable, and I've always been told I look like certain people. Like, I've been told I look like Caillou when I was growing up, and I was like, I don't want to be like a Caillou to somebody. But Charlie Brown is so classic. It's everybody knows, but like, he's also somebody that doesn't give up. You want to talk about kicking the football? He tries every time. He never gives up. He thinks one day he's going to make it. Right? So, I mean, it's somebody that's going to never give up, continually push, and is honest, positive, and trying to bring the best out of people. So
great.
Relating that to music is perfect.
Yeah, I know. Thanks for coming in. Thanks
for having me.
No, this was great.
This was good.
I appreciate it.
Perfect.
Thanks for listening.